Pravin, did I say your name correctly? Pravin,
Yes.
Pravin?
Correct.
Which way is the correct way?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Pravin because
That's
that's the name I'm used to. Um, we met each other many times. I call it the networking circuit, right?
Yes.
I think one of the common ones where we saw each other at the St. Arnold's,
No,
St. Arnold's, and drinks a beer. Um, and the little that I knew about you, I think you were a vendor there also, right?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
And you have your own printing business,
Yes.
right? And that printing business is Kwik.
It's a Kwik Kopy. It's
Kwik
a
Kopy.
franchise. Yeah.
Okay, that's KWIK copy.
Yeah. Living there 46 years at this location, and I owned it for last 7 years.
Last 7 years. And right before we were talking about this, or we got on live on camera here, was that we were talking about your previous life, and you used to be, I guess, a trader,
Yeah.
like a day trader.
Yeah, I came here in 2002.
From where?
From Indonesia.
Mhm.
I was working there.
Yeah.
I come from a very highly educated family.
Okay.
And so education is a big thing in my family.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an MBA in finance, and I'm also a cost accountant from India.
Right.
But I'm still the least educated in my family, so you can understand.
Okay.
Having come from my education background, I changed like 6 jobs in 5 years
Mm-hmm.
in Indonesia. I couldn't last more than a year.
Are you originally from Indonesia?
I'm from India, but my parents lived all their life in Indonesia.
Okay.
My father was CEO of a big company there.
Okay.
So he lived all his life, my parents, for 30 years there.
Right.
So I have a big base still there. My brother is still there. So I mean,
Where in Indonesia?
I lived in Surabaya. I live in Jakarta.
Uh-huh.
So I've been all over Indonesia, and I traveled all over Asia.
Yeah.
So I was not very successful in jobs, simply because I didn't fit into it. That
Yeah.
8 to 5 schedule or 9 to 5.
Did you enjoy Indonesia
Very much.
very much?
It's a beautiful country to live.
Uh-huh.
You have a very good support system.
Right.
You can afford all the luxuries at a nominal cost. I mean, you don't have to do everything by yourself.
Yeah.
Which is a big plus.
How long did you live in Jakarta?
Yeah, I was in Indonesia for 7 years. Jakarta was about 2 years, 3 years, and Surabaya was 4 years.
Yeah. So this is a funny story, but I watch these random movies quite a bit. Pretty violent movies, you could say. And there was this one really famous actor from Indonesia. His name is, I don't know, maybe Ino.
Okay.
And he's like kind of this martial artist. One of his first movies is called The Raid. And then he had another movie he did like The Raid, Raid Redemption. And then he has these other movies, and they're all on Netflix. One is called The Night Comes For Us. Anyways, in these movies, they are Indonesian movies. And they are like the most gory movies ever. Like, I mean, they kind of up the ante versus like American movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is like my impression of Indonesia.
I have I've been going to Indonesia since I was 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up to the age of 23. And my father used to work there.
Right.
And I used to visit them, my family, my mom and dad, in the summers. My mom used to stay in India with us for 6 months and 6 months with dad.
Mm-hmm.
So he made a lot of sacrifices, my dad,
Yeah.
just to bring us up.
Right.
I mean, we didn't get anything just like that easily.
Yeah.
He had to really work hard, and I've seen him working crazy hours. And he rose to the president of the company at that level. And the thing, is just the country is very beautiful.
Right.
People are extremely humble and nice,
Mm-hmm.
and very less arrogancy. Maybe I don't know what you've seen in the movies, but I have a totally different opinion.
Right. And so the movies, and I was like, wow, and I enjoy these movies. Like, so he's kind of one of my more, I guess, favorite actors out there. And then I was reading this New York Times article one time where people made tofu out of plastic there, which is not a good thing. And I was watching this documentary how like the pollution in like Jakarta, like it is really bad.
They have a very high level of affiliation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Most of the people like us, we used to work and we used to live not right in the midtown or downtown or whatever.
Right.
We used to far off. Pollution was much less. Traffic is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, it's probably spend hours.
Yeah.
Because it's not as developed as America, but
Yeah.
I would love to live there and spend the rest of my life because life is slow.
Mm-hmm.
And
In Indonesia?
very slow.
Even, well, depending, I mean, again, it depends, right? Like, if you're in Jakarta, I would imagine it's a pretty, I guess what I'm saying, Jakarta's a really,
Just
relatively
imagine,
big
let's
city.
say if you go there, you don't have to drive your car. You have
Mhm.
somebody driving your car. You're working, you're more productive, number one.
Right.
You go to home, you have a cooked meal in front of your table. You have a servant who's cooking for you.
Mm-hmm.
Half the stress is gone. You're not buying groceries. You're
Right.
not going to HEB to get groceries. Somebody else is getting everything.
Right.
I think a lot of things are get done even you don't have to do yourself.
Right.
So that's stress.
Mm-hmm.
That is stress because you got to go to some grocery stores, buy, come back, park your car, come back up, washing, drying, cleaning, everything, cleaning dishes.
Yeah.
That is stress. And
It really kind of depends, right? Stress is sometimes, I think, maybe sometimes the meaning you give it, right? Sometimes people think cooking food is stressful. I actually, I love cooking. And the reason why I like cooking is because it actually helps me with my patience. Like, because I want to actually eat a good meal. And in order to get a good meal, I have to be patient. Like, you can't cook everything on high heat, right? Something takes time. So when I cook, I actually treat it like, let me cook for myself, and when I'm
put that feeling in
and I
there.
put that feeling into it, and then so I don't find it stressful. And like sometimes I spend hours, like if I make shrimp or something, I'll spend like an hour like peeling shrimp, but I just kind of watch some YouTube videos or watch TV and just kind of enjoy what I'm doing versus treating it as like.
The
oh
thing
my
is,
God, it's
we
very
were in senior positions, so there was a lot of demanding things from us,
Mhm.
where our focus had to be completely on the job
Mhm.
because you were paid that way,
So what did you do in Jakarta, and when did you, I guess, or in Indonesia, sorry, and then when did you come over here to the
I
United States?
came here in 2002 after I quit my last job, which was probably the sixth job.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, my dad was kind of not in favor for me to come here.
Mm-hmm.
But since I was not very successful in job
Yeah.
and nobody knew what was going to happen with my life,
Right.
so I took that on my hands and I came here.
Mm-hmm.
Left my wife and my kids there. My daughter was almost 1 year
Right.
and my son was 5 years.
Mm-hmm. And did you come to Houston or did you come
I came to Houston and worked with I had a family business in India, so I used to export.
Mhm.
It didn't work out very well, so and I had to shut down everything. So I was back to square one where I was. Lived about 6 months alone here, and I was trying to establish myself into that exporting thing. So I
Mhm.
brought my family, and we lived in a one-bedroom, one-bath apartment.
Right.
Because I couldn't afford anything.
What part of town in
It
Houston?
was right here in Bradford
Okay.
and the West Houston. I've always lived in West Houston.
And this is 2002.
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
So I came here and started my life, and I was traveling. When you export, you have to travel and buy things like scraps and all that from all over the country. So I used to travel a lot,
Right.
and so I had to get a license for my wife. I used to drive a small car, and we only had one car
Mhm.
because I couldn't afford a lot of things at that point of time because there was no income.
Right.
So, and plus, the kids were like growing up, and we needed space. So.
Mhm.
Finally, my business started up in 2 years. It took about 2 years, and God was lucky. I was lucky and the second year started, and the business was booming. But again, as I had a setback, and the business failed again. So
Okay. And you're saying this is some kind of import or export
Yeah.
business, like certain
I
products?
think
or?
some oil crisis, just like 2008, something happened,
Mhm.
and I think that time and it just didn't work out the family business. So I started looking for other work, but I was not able to find work.
Right.
And I had two growing up kids. I said I don't know how to bring up children.
Mhm.
So I thought to go back again, and it was very disappointing for somebody to spend 2.5 years
Right.
and not being successful and just go back because you failed.
Mm-hmm.
Something hit my mind the day before. I went to India, put my daughter into international school. I paid for it already in
Mm-hmm.
India, and I thought maybe okay, it's time out for me to go back.
Right.
Maybe it's not made for me. But I was here in 93, 95 doing my MBA in finance in New Orleans.
In New Orleans,
Yeah.
Tulane, or
I went to University in New Orleans.
okay.
So I went back in 95, got married, and in 95, and
Okay, so it wasn't your first time
yeah.
in the United States.
Yeah, so 95 I got married and moved to Indonesia in 96. So it was about 5-6 years there.
Yeah.
And I had 2 children there, and it was a very happy life. I used to live with my parents, and I used to really enjoy it
Right.
because my wife is a homemaker and she enjoys family life, and
So after 2.5 years, you said your business was not as successful as you wanted to be. So what did you do after 2.5 years?
just search for another work.
Okay.
And
Such as, what did you come up with?
Luckily, again, I diversified into metals,
Mm-hmm.
and I had another one of my family members, like a friend of my father-in-law. So he introduced me to him, and so he was buying a lot of things from US.
Mm-hmm.
So
When you say metals, are we referring
mostly
to
metal
precious?
scrap, HMS
Okay.
1 and 2, a lot of metals.
Yeah.
So
Not like gold or precious
no,
metals.
no, that was pretty expensive. I couldn't afford those things.
Yeah.
So I had money, from my savings in the previous jobs and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I invested into that, and that paid off very well in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the uncle whom I was working with, he was pretty open, and he said, "Okay, this is my price. Whatever you make is up to you." It's almost like an assignment
Right.
in real estate, right?
So you said you had an uncle
Yeah.
in the business also.
Yes.
Okay.
So he helped me out, and for 2 years, when I was exporting 30, 40 containers at a month at a time
You're exporting from Houston
from Houston to India.
to India.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had a plant where he used to, he was making manual covers.
Mm-hmm.
You can see all those manual covers. He used to export all that back here.
Right.
So he had a big couple of units there where hundreds of people was working for him.
Mm-hmm.
But very nice guy, and I was very lucky to get in touch with him.
Yeah.
So 2 years, and it went very well.
How long?
2 or 3 years, I think.
How long did you do this for?
About 2-3 years, I guess.
2-3 years.
Yeah.
And what made you stop doing it?
I think this 2008 crisis,
Uh-huh.
the oil and gas crisis, everything went down.
Yeah.
All the metals went down. Everything crashed. As you remember,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people lose their shirts.
Yeah.
I was lucky. I didn't lose my shirt, but I still made a lot of money, so I was lucky.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing is I was with the right people,
Right.
so every penny was paid back.
Okay.
That's very rare in business.
Right. So you did well. It's just macroeconomics just kind of took over. And,
Took over.
Yeah.
So 2008, I'm back to square one where I was in 2002,
Mm-hmm.
doing nothing.
Right.
Again, a failed business, right?
And so what did you decide to do from, I guess?
So again,
2008.
back to searching 2008 crisis and 2009. Met a friend of mine, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Nothing.
Right.
I'm looking for work. He said, "You have 2 children." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Why don't you come to my home? Let me teach you. Let me show you what I'm doing."
Mm-hmm.
I sat with him, and he taught me one day, and he says, "This is how I make money," and he was trading options, and I was very fortunate to
Right.
do that. I learned all those tricks what he was doing, and he taught me everything. You don't find friends like that.
So in 2008, you decided, or you had a friend that reached out to you. Now it was
2009, early 2009.
2009. So I don't know if you know this, but I used to be in public accounting. I used to work for Ernst & Young and then PricewaterhouseCoopers. And then in 2008, when the bottom fell out, well, I guess really the moment Lehman Brothers, completely disappeared, and then Washington Mutual, Wachovia, followed by, I think, Bears. I can't remember what the order was, and when everything kind of hit the fan, collapsed. Yeah, I mean, what I was doing at that time was kind of crazy because kind of explain, but example, these companies have like receivables out, right? And a lot of receivables, and you don't know if the other company that they have a receivable from is going to be in business or not. So it was this constant like evaluating all their receivables to see if like, hey, are they really gonna? And if like for example, if your biggest counterparty was Lehman Brothers or Bear Stearns or Wachovia, you're basically done.
No.
Also, as a business, there's no cash flow coming in. You can't operate your business. So you started doing options. So my point is that after Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, all these banks dropped, you're like, hey, let me start trading options.
I did. Honestly, I was not aware of 2008 crisis about all this because I was not involved in stocks, right?
Right.
I used to hear all in the news that what's happening, crash, this, that, metal prices have crashed. I was more focused on my business and how it was affecting me,
Right.
So I was seeing everything going around, but I was not involved in real estate at that time. So I was not knowing like people were losing their shirts at that time.
Yeah.
And so I was very focused into my business, but I saw the collapse. I said, probably it's done. It's time to go back again. So.
Right. But it was almost like a worldwide thing. Too.
Yeah.
So it's not like you were gonna, if you leave the United States, you weren't gonna escape.
Yeah, it's a worldwide thing.
Because even during that time, it's crazy because like the moment like Lehman Brothers collapsed, it was just kind of like, all right, what's gonna go? Like, what is the government gonna do to make sure to stabilize the system, the financial system? And then even I think in 2009, we're these are peaks and valleys in terms of like, hey, how the economy's gonna go. I think even GM was about to go bankrupt, and then even at that time, again, it's not the fact that GM was going to go bankrupt, but all the suppliers, all the businesses that support GM.
Ancillary industries,
Yeah, related to it's like, hey, like a whole industry could go down if a company like GM disappears. I think the government stepped in and saved them.
Yeah, it's all the free money, and I think that really helped. But as I said, I was lucky in 2009 to find a friend. I started trading. And I did not know at that point, honestly, because I was very new to the stock market.
Right.
That we have reached at a bottom. So I was lucky.
But it's kind of like the perfect time to get in when everything kind of like collapsed. Everything that was going to collapse collapsed.
I have been lucky in those times because it's not the first time I was lucky.
Right.
I didn't knew what was going to happen. I just tried my luck. I trusted him because he made money, showed me. I started making good money. I said, man, I'm not doing anything. I have a laptop. I have a Verizon USB. And I used to drive and trade in the car itself. My laptop always used to be running.
Okay. So I guess the next question is, did you do well?
Very well.
In trading. Oh, very well.
Very well.
Yeah.
Up to 2014, I did very well. I think that's where I made most of my money. And I was probably on cloud 9 that, I probably mastered this business.
Yeah.
But, what happens when you master the business?
No.
There is a day when you think you know everything.
Well, first of all, you never master anything. And
you are proved wrong.
Right.
I had a $200,000 loss in one day. And that changed the whole scenario and my mindset, because I was under the impression that I'm never going to lose.
Yeah.
Because I was doing so well. But I made tons of money,
Right.
But I couldn't take that 200,000 loss because of my knowledge, and I spent thousands of dollars in learning, training, education. I was spending 12, 13, 14 hours a day in trading, 2 screens, running laptops in my car. And I was just kind of frustrated that something like this could happen to me.
Yeah.
So I took a large position on Friday, and I was in $40,000 profit that time. And the option was supposed to close next Friday. I was trading weekly options.
That's, if I'm going to rethink this, right? Since 2011, we've had a bull run. I mean, the market has gone up.
So I think it was August 23rd, 2014 or 15, something like that. I taken a position on a Friday, and I was like $40,000 plus.
Yeah.
And probably put over $1 million in there at that time, in that deal. And it was my own cash money.
Right.
And I was thinking, man, it's a week's time, and I've done so well every time taking these kind of positions. Smaller and sometimes larger.
Right.
Monday morning, I got a wake-up call. All the future markets crashed. 3 a.m., 4 a.m., I just got up in the sleep, and as my habit, I watched my computer because it's running all the time.
I'm trying to think, what event, was there a certain event in 2014 that happened where it caused the futures market?
It was August 23rd of 2015 or something. and it was bad crash.
Yeah.
And I was almost like all my margin calls and all that started coming up as soon as the market opened at 8 o'clock. My wife was holding my hands and I told her what's going to happen as soon as the market opens.
Right.
I was in big red.
Yeah.
As soon as the market came back up, I took my loss, whatever my mentors had taught me. I said, I'm just going to take this 200K loss and I can bear that and
Right.
get out. Again, the market in the afternoon tanked again, and I was big time negative again. So I said, man, I'm lucky,
Yeah.
I got out with a 200K loss, which was bearable. Next morning, Tuesday, market came back up, and I was again back to the $40,000 position.
Right.
I said, I'm not doing this business again.
And then from there, you decided to buy.
It hurted my ego, or probably my knowledge. It hurted me deep inside.
Right.
It took 3 days for me to recover from that because I was not ready for it.
Right.
And things happen to you when you're not ready, trust me.
Right.
And I've seen this many, many times in life. Whenever you least expect, that's when it happens. But since I had made a lot of money, I said, fine, I can get away with this. And, at that time, I think I brought the printing company at a similar time, by 6 months. I don't remember, 2014. So I was doing pretty well, I had this printing.
So you bought the Kwik Kopy
in 2014 April.
in 2014, and that's a very interesting move. Is there a reason why you went from, I guess, trading options to buying it?
Because it was not a stable business. Because I knew someday it's going to happen. When you trade for 5-6 years, you know what you're doing.
But why did you decide a printing business is a business you wanted to get into?
No, I searched for over 100 franchises. I didn't want to go to a food franchise because I didn't want to work 7 days a week.
Right.
Because I had a family, and family means everything to me. And I didn't want to work on the weekends. And so I started, approaching the brokers and started tons of businesses. Somehow just nothing worked. And this business came up, and I live in Katy, and this business almost like 37-40 miles. So I've been driving like 80-90 miles back and forth every day. Plus, 2014 when I started this printing company, and it was doing it was kind of doing okay.
Yeah.
But I started my lending business because I used to go to all these network events, and I had a passion to do new things.
So what kind of lending do you do?
Private lending.
Private lending for what?
For the real estate, fix and flips. I'm still doing that for the last 7 years. Fortunately, I was, as I said, I've been nice to everybody. I get good people in my life for some reason.
Yeah.
I always get good people, no matter what.
So when did because you just kind of transitioned to real estate real quick, but when did you got into real estate?
About after I got my printing company, I started doing a lot of direct mail. I was looking for other avenues in printing.
Right.
So direct mail was the biggest thing, and nobody was doing in the real estate that time. So I started going around events, and to the people who were lending, they were very helpful. They said, these are the events you should go to. So I started going to those events, and I found out there was a niche and nobody was doing.
Which
is direct mail.
Direct mail, okay.
I said, okay, let me start my advertising, because I always try to find niche in things where people aren't doing.
Right.
Everybody knows printing. Direct mail, people were doing, maybe not, but whenever I used to go to the events, nobody was doing it. Rather, they were looking for somebody local in Houston.
Right.
So I think it was a good timing, and I said, man, this is the niche market I need to be in real estate, which is direct mail.
Right.
So I started blowing it up, going to the events, putting my tents and whatever, started trying to know people, cutting to business cards, putting my email list, which is almost 9,000 people right now.
Right.
Businesses, manufacturers, real estate. The way I started doing direct mail of people that started coming to my office, because I wanted to promote myself, right?
Right.
And these people started talking that, hey, this is the guy, local guy who does it, If you need, I kept my prices always, reasonable. Margins are too small in direct mail anyway.
Right.
You make pennies. And I knew investors are not going to pay too much. So
because in direct mail, the cost of the postage is even more than the printing at this point, right?
no, actually, I think if you do a bulk mail, the average, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is about 30 cents postage. You
Mm-hmm.
won't pay 53, 55 cents on a first class.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, first class and bulk mail, I mean, it reaches at the same time with the post office.
But the cost per print is still less than the bulk mail, right?
Printing is less, yes.
Yeah, printing is less.
Yeah.
Significantly
Postage
less.
is very high.
Yeah.
So that's so I calculated back and I went to several websites who were doing it,
Mm-hmm.
tried to download all their prices. I said, okay, I need to be below this if I need to get business.
Right.
Because investors are not going to pay me 2 pennies more if they get something less.
Right.
So, I mean, as a businessman, I already knew what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I had my prices kept low. I started marketing Facebook. I started putting my signs, and I started, putting some of the online ads. So, and plus, I think I'm very good at building relationships.
Yeah.
People who are friends, they are friends for life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, I know you for 1 year and you're done, and I excuse you everything. My mental setup, the upbringing has been very different.
Yeah.
I try to be very upfront. I tell you what the cost is, and somebody comes to me and says, "Pravin, I want to do it for 1 month and try it out," and I don't waste your money.
Right. Do you ever feel the fact that since yours is a franchise that you're disadvantaged somehow?
No, actually, it's a big advantage because I didn't know nothing about printing. I had to learn everything.
Okay.
In fact,
But I guess from a customer's perspective, like for example, because you're trying to attract investors, right? I would say most investors don't get their insurance from like State Farm or Allstate. They go to kind of a more independent brokerage. So, do people see Kwik Kopy and they're like, oh, let me go find a more boutique or more.
no, I think that was a big advantage because Kwik Kopy has been business in 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
So the brand is there, and it was just to make the way to get business is personal relationship.
Right.
When you do marketing and when you go out do marketing and you're doing ads, and if you're not getting results, the only thing left is personal relationship.
Right.
So if you are going to events and if you're standing in front of the events, connecting with people, from one referral to the second referral, you just start building that business.
Mm-hmm.
Because people like to do business with people whom they can love, trust.
Right.
And whenever I do business, I'm pretty upfront. I just tell them that if you're looking to do for a month, don't waste your money.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people would just try to grab their business. I'm not one of those. I just am very upfront. If you can make money, I will guide you in the right direction.
Right.
If I can't buy your luck.
Mm-hmm.
If you are consistent, you will get business.
Right.
If you're not consistent, you will not get business.
Mm-hmm.
You expect that you send 3,000 letters or 3,000 postcards and you will get 10 calls. It's not going to happen.
You're right. So is most of your business from, I guess, investors or just in general? Or?
My real estate business investors was 1% of my business.
Mm-hmm.
99% I do industrial business, which
Okay.
nobody else does. The reason is we have our own bindery unit.
When you say industrial, what is it? What is that?
Industrial companies like big companies, oil and gas companies.
Mm-hmm.
We work with the cities, schools, colleges, government districts, offices.
And are they doing like mailers or are they just
There
doing?
are tons of mailers, and I'm also a minority-owned company,
Mhm.
so it's a big advantage because, being a minority-owned company, you get preference in government contracts.
Right.
So it took me 6 months to get that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when I bought the company, all the customers came along with it.
Right.
I just had to introduce myself as the new owner, and I think I'm pretty good at that because being honest and being upfront is the best way.
Right.
So if there is any price increase, I tell my customers, they don't make a fuss about it. They know that there is something going on.
Right.
I don't make an extra margin just by increasing the price. My margin is still the same.
The same as the cost of materials.
Yeah, because the
Cost of
last 6
labor.
months, you can imagine the cost of paper, the stickers, the labels, the vinyl,
Mhm.
metals, gone up by 15-20%.
Right.
And when I go to my customers, I just tell them this is what's happening and no.
Right.
Because they have to increase their price as well, so they know everything is inflation.
Yeah.
Right? So when you are, you have to build some kind of trust with your customers,
Right.
a personal relationship. Direct mail with investors was just one part of the business
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to get into real estate.
Yeah. And you have gone into real estate, right? Because I believe you own a few rentals.
With this direct mail, I started knowing what real estate was,
Mm-hmm.
what people were doing, what actually they were getting. Some people were very lucky to make tons of deals.
Yes.
Some people were not lucky that enough. And people I keep telling the people, if you are sending me a list, make sure it's cleaned up, brushed up, because I'm not going to see your list. I'm just like a courier for you.
Right.
I'm going to send the yellow letters. I'm going to send it on time. I send it next day.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know that the kind of service we do. I think being upfront with the customers is very important. And when you talk eye to eye, it's more easier.
Right.
They know that I'm pretty blunt and straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody comes to me and brings a business or direct mail, say I want to do 5,000 letters, I said I'm ready to do it. This is my cost. My price is same for you or
Mm-hmm.
anybody who's doing something 5,000, 10,000.
Right.
It depends upon the volume. I have a slab. You don't get a preference even though you are my friend
Right.
because I have to maintain my standards of pricing.
Right.
So that's, I think, the very important factor is maintaining your prices.
Mm-hmm.
Same for everybody.
Right.
So when you talk about people, Mr. X is not paying less than Mr. Y.
Mm-hmm.
They all know everybody's paying the same price. That's where you build the trust.
Right. No, that makes sense.
And I started connecting with a lot of people with these events. I went to over 200 events since I started.
Yeah.
Every event in town, I was there introducing, getting my business cards out.
Right.
One to another person, I started doing this. And we used to do mailers like at times for, my industrial customers, 30,000, 40,000 mailers at a time.
But you haven't, because you're talking about doing direct mail for a lot of investors and stuff. But I think you said you don't actually do any direct mail yourself.
The reason is I'm into several different things. Direct mail works. I don't have let's say a VA or somebody who can, since printing is my full-time business, real estate I would consider as a part-time.
Mm-hmm.
So I took my realtor's license last year for my own flips and learning the laws of the country,
Mm-hmm.
state, how things can affect. And then lending, I started real estate with lending, and with the direct mail, I started knowing people, and I approached what is. So I started learning, going to the events that private lending, and I had money
Mm-hmm.
already made in the stock market, which I needed to, put out into several different things. So I started lending to people,
Mm-hmm.
and I started knowing the rates. Some people have been there for the last 4 years. I've rotated tons of money with them. Month flip, fix and flip. I was very lucky that I didn't lose a single penny in any of the direct lending.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to in this market.
Only once, if I remember correctly, but that was paid off as well.
Yeah.
Because I do my assessment. Let's say somebody walks in and says, Pravin, I want money. Can you lend me $250,000? That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's not how you build relationships.
So do you, on the lending business part, do you do your own due diligence, or do you get like independent appraisals?
No, I do my own diligence. I've walked Home Depot aisles for hours, days, because my first flip went everything wrong. That made me realize that it's not easy to flip.
Right.
So, I was trying to do this, but I didn't knew when my first flip, I fixed the roof first before the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So, luckily, I was very lucky on that flip. I did own a finance and I got out, I fixed everything, and it took me 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the best learning experience by losing money.
Right.
Initially, but I eventually made it up.
You're supposed to learn a little bit more when you lose, right?
Running to Home Depot aisles made me learn more than anything else because I started knowing the cost of materials.
Mm-hmm.
I started, going to all the wholesalers' open houses because I used to connect with everybody. I was very inquisitive all the time.
Right.
I used to ask a lot of questions to the contractors. Hey, what is it going to cost this much?
Mm-hmm.
I used to connect with people who were doing, hey, what do you think? Somebody would say, okay, I'm going to offer this much.
Yeah.
And then I started back calculating with all my experience in Home Depot aisles, what is the material cost. Generally, the thumb rule is like it's going to be half the labor cost.
Yeah.
That's how you calculate. So now I know what I know, but those days were not easy. It was pretty rough.
Right.
So I learned the hard way on how to flip. On the first flip, probably it was a university experience, a degree which I took, and that really taught me a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple of investors who really came out, and can't take the names, but they are my buddies forever.
Mm-hmm.
And they helped me out with that flip and any other flips which I had issues because they had contractors. And I'm just very grateful and thankful to them.
Yeah.
Whatever I've done is because all the teaching they have given me. And even till today, they come to my office, we have lunch. I did a lot of private lending to them. I learned a lot of them from the flips. And whenever it used to go wrong, I used to call them. Even till today, if I'm gone, I don't know the answer, I call them.
Right.
So it's just building up relationships and helping each other.
So do you still do flips?
I do.
Because I've always known that you probably held some rentals.
I do have rentals. I have owner finance notes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm invested some right now in Las Vegas in syndications.
Mm-hmm.
With my realtor's license. Plus, I have a printing business. I'm doing Airbnbs for last 7 months.
Yeah.
That is one of the business I'm focusing, and
Right.
I'm completely focused on short-term rentals right now.
Why did you make the switch? Because I know you, like I said, I've always known that you've done long-term rentals, but why have you switched over to doing short-term rentals?
There is a big reason. I think with all this COVID, what I saw that a lot of tenants were not paying,
Mm-hmm.
and it was hard to get payments from them because everybody was suffering, losing jobs, this, that.
Right.
So I was not getting paid, number one. So I thought, I don't know, do I keep pursuing this or give it to somebody like property management?
Mm-hmm.
But owner finance was the best way because I don't have to manage anything. So these rentals I was.
I mean, you're saying that there's owner finance is the best way. Because I've learned, I have my own mentors and stuff also, but I have one that has bought probably thousands of homes, and he would always say that his one wish was that he owner financed less, because it's kind of like an annuity, right? At some point you lose the investment forever.
Absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm.
With owner finance, 30 years or 25 years, whatever it is, I mean, that house is gone, your money is,
Right.
you have recouped your money. Rentals, that keeps increasing. But as I said, I didn't want to manage properties. That was probably let's say the negative side. I couldn't manage
Mm-hmm.
because I was involved into so many, my printing company, I was full time. I had to
Right.
go to the schools, I had to go to the industries, I had to meet people. So it was like I was running around like crazy, 200 miles traveling every day.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I reached home, and with the events, sponsoring events, going here, going there, I was having like 15 hours days.
Right.
So it was not just easy. I mean, it was managing like multiple businesses at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and they all need 100% of me.
I mean, do you ever feel like the reason why you're in this because you kind of chose not to delegate or I guess leverage some other people
No.
to manage your business a little bit better?
No, actually, the thing is, I being managing everything, like in my printing business, I have very good staff, and they take care of it. But still, I have to be on top of the job because there are a lot of customers who need me.
Right.
They know me, and they just call me or text me,
Yeah.
and I have to be there. And they are big companies we deal with, right? Multinational companies. So I have a lot of things on my plate, and lending was the easiest because by the time I started lending, I already knew my numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody presented a property to me, I would have calculated in my mind by the time, in 6 months' time, what the numbers are going to look like. And if somebody fails, I can always get the property back,
Right.
So it took about 6 months to 8 months to learn this, thing. And I always favor short-term rentals. You can make more money, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I'm outsourcing everything to people where I don't have to manage.
Right.
I'm a professional.
Mm-hmm.
I want everything to be managed professionally.
Right.
I mean, I don't want somebody that complaining, oh, I have this problem, that, no. I have to be everything best and professional.
Right.
So I do delegate everything,
Okay.
which I'm not good at because I know I'm not good at property management,
Right.
So if I have rentals, I probably have to give it to you or somebody else who knows this business in and out,
Mm-hmm.
who knows how to handle those tenants. I don't.
Right.
So I don't try to save money or cut corners on service.
Mm-hmm.
In last 25 years of my life, all the success I had and all the failures I had, the only thing I learned is customer service.
Yeah.
If you have a tenant, he's complaining, you got better fix it.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a problem with a customer, then I'm the first person to jump on the phone and trying to, put the fire off.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with everything you're saying. The only time is there will always be situations where you just can't get on the same page.
If you're honest, if you go and personally meet, at times what I've seen, what happens is when you're talking on a phone
Mm-hmm.
and there's a bad situation, you already know it.
Right.
You can't solve at times just talking on the phone because they can't see you face to face.
Right.
When you sit like this, like what me and you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
sitting face eye to eye, and you accept if you've done something wrong, you say, okay, we have made a mistake and we're going to rectify it right now, and these are the corrective steps I'm taking.
Right.
So it's not going to happen. Trust me. You
Yeah.
want that customer for life. He's not going because he's telling you and you're accepting your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And it has happened. It has happened in past with
sure.
one customer.
Absolutely.
It was a huge, big company, now owned by Warren Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
Can't tell the name of the company on the podcast, but we
Right.
work with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they are one of our biggest account. And we had some issues, and it was a mistake. And fortunately, the best way to accept a mistake is to accept it.
Yeah.
And just say, yes, we made a mistake, and this is how I'm going to rectify it.
I think that what you're saying makes sense, right? But you know what the problem with people is that people like to dwell on the problem, right? They keep wanting to talk about what the mistake was and like, hey, okay, look, I accept that what I did was wrong, and this is what I'm going to do going forward. But some people love to dwell on the issue and not really think about the solution. And you come to find out that the longer you dwell on something, right, if someone makes you mad, and you keep on thinking what this person did, you're going to be more mad.
Okay,
Later on.
here is a tip. I'm almost getting to 50 years old now.
Right.
When I was in 30, I would not accept. As I'm approaching 50, if I have a difficult person or a
Mhm.
customer,
Right.
which I'm not able to solve,
Mm-hmm.
I take somebody with me who is a cool-headed guy or a person in my office.
Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
To mediate.
Oh,
If
sure.
things get hard or they start getting mad, the first thing I do is, as it is, my personality is humble.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very easy because I'm pretty acceptable.
Yeah.
If you are mad with me, I don't mind saying, hey Jerry, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. But why people dwell on problem is because you're not solving the problem.
Right.
At mine, I just give the money back.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the money.
Right.
Problem is not they are dwelling on the problem. The problem is you have to say from your mouth that if you did a mistake, we will compensate you in full, and the money you don't have to pay a penny. And we are going to redo the job at no cost to you.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the dwelling of the problem goes away. It's all about money.
Right.
Because they are spending something, and there's a problem created, and it's a deadline they need to meet. So number one thing, payment in full back. Half the problem is over when you talk about money.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, you apologize for the mistake.
Right.
You just say eye to eye, yes, you made a mistake, and this is how. Number three, when you say a corrective measure, nothing in the earth. If you have made a mistake and you're telling them this is how you're going to rectify it, you're paying it back, and you're humble and you're accepting it. We are all humans.
Mm-hmm.
We are all humans. We know we make mistakes, but the bigger person is who apologizes and accepts it and fixes it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you dwell over a problem, you're not looking for a solution.
Right.
Because that's why I take one person along with me sometimes if you have a big situation. So if I am talking and it gets heated up for some reason, I keep myself calm.
Mhm.
But then I have somebody who interprets and he says, okay,
Yeah.
it's a mediation.
Right. I mean, the other thing is that, like, for example, you're saying that you're people with reason. I guess that's what you're saying. But sometimes there are certain people out there that no matter you cannot reason, they're just looking for an advantage. Strangely enough, in business, right, is a business transaction. For the money that you provide, this is the service I'm going to provide for you, right? But sometimes people will never agree until it's just one-sided, meaning they benefit from the situation. And I've dealt with that too. And I find it unusual, right? Because I feel like, because you kind of reflect on yourself, that like, hey, in life, if you get a product that you pay for, you should be happy. But some people, unless they're advantaged in every situation, they're just not happy about it. The other point I was going to make was that, we manage a lot of rental properties, and my suggestion to people who own rental properties is to not manage it themselves. Because in life, right, for example, you have friends and you have family. And the reason why you talk to these people is because you trust them. Like, they're good people to you, right? When you're dealing with tenants, unfortunately, sometimes I, I tell people, like, you want to keep your trust in people. So if you want to keep your trust in people, because usually the people that you keep around you are good people to you, you probably shouldn't manage rental properties because you're dealing with a subset of people that may or may not lie to you constantly, and then that would kind of destroy your confidence in people in general.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I have faith in myself.
Yeah.
So what happens is, when you have faith in yourself, you see everything good from your own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think half the problem, I think what you're saying is there are tenants who are taking advantage of it. I understand. I've been through those situations.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can much do about it.
Right.
We just have to bow down and get out.
Yeah.
What else can you do? You can't just start a war. You have to just find solutions. I mean, there's no, I mean, angry tenants. I had a situation. I had a condo. I mean, just a small story.
Mm-hmm.
I bought in Elif.
Right.
And fixed it, put it on rental, and it was like, there was a lady, can't name anybody. She put the air condition at I think 59 or something, whatever is the lowest.
Right.
And she was overweight and all that, and after a month, the AC broke, and it was running pretty fine. I serviced everything before, because when I give a property for rent, it is immaculate condition. Everything is fixed.
Right.
There is nothing left. After a month, you get a call. The AC in the middle of the summer, 100 degrees, as we were talking.
Yeah.
The AC is gone.
That's usually when it happens.
It's gone.
Right.
So I called my guy. I said, "Man, how can the people live?" And now she starts complaining that, "Hey, I'm an asthmatic patient. I might die because, if it's too heat, my body can't take it." And man, that was like, I was kind of scared. I said, "I don't know what to do."
Mm-hmm.
And I was new in so I called a friend and he says, "Just go and just fix it."
Mm-hmm.
I went there personally. This is the first time I've been to a property. I went with my guy. He saw the thermostat. It was at the lowest point.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Ma'am, in our contract, we specify what is the minimum limit and the maximum limit. You can put the AC and the heater off."
Mm-hmm.
And number two, we had a contract where you and your son was supposed to live there. I see 6 more or 5 more kids in the other room.
Right.
You're violating the terms and conditions of the contract, number one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who these kids are.
Right.
So I tried to take a picture. He said, you can't take the picture of the kids." I said, "No, I'm not trying to, take the picture of the kids. You're violating the true terms and condition. This is a proof that you're having 7 people in a condo where you should have only 2 people registered.
Right.
And I don't know what you're doing here." So number one. Number two, the thermostat should not have been to the lowest point. And that's why it burnt up.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to spend some money. I was sick and tired.
Right.
Every day there was a complaint. I understand you probably go through hundreds of these every day.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that I was not made for that.
Yeah.
In a month's time, I just sold it and got out. Because I was so frustrated.
You ended up selling the property because of the tenant?
Yes.
Okay. It's interesting. Yeah.
Because I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
Because I said, I have so many things going around with me. If I focus my time on all the abuse and all the negative mindset, it's going to create my mind a negative. I said, I've done everything wrong, right from inside.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody is doing wrong to me, how do I protect myself? There are only 2 ways.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get out of the situation and never see them again.
Yeah.
Because you want to live in peace.
Right.
It was a business decision. I made money because I bought it right.
Mm-hmm.
I always buy it right.
Right. Yeah, they always say in real estate investing, you make money on the buy, right?
Yeah, so I always buy right. I'm not paying you 95% of ARV minus repairs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the right person. I buy when I can make money.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to make money. Both of us make money. That's a good transaction. It's not about only me making money.
Right.
So coming back to you, that tenant situation, that first flip which I had, I think I decided that there's a lot of things which I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I accepted that because there is a problem, and what do? Okay, I started going to events, started learning, taking learning courses online, seeing what was the best way to handle this in the situations.
Yeah.
I took my realtor's license. That's because of that, because I wanted to know all the tenant laws
Mm-hmm.
and what are the laws where of all this.
Right.
The only reason I took my realtor's license is because I wanted to learn legally.
Mm-hmm.
What are the things which I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it was a rough time. Trust me. I mean, it's just
So how long ago was this?
I remember.
Because you said you got your real estate license.
Yeah,
Just last year.
I started real estate in 2016, and
Mhm.
that was probably happened in 2017
Okay.
because that's my first flip and my first condo,
Yeah.
and I was lending that time. I said, man, lending is easy. I
Oh,
don't need to do
sure.
anything. I get a monthly check every time in the mail, and never late. When they sell their property, they make good money, and I think that was the best way to deal with it. But it took me about a year and a half to learn all the ropes,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started flipping. I started making money because I didn't knew a lot of things. So the best way to do things is to learn first.
Yeah.
Before jumping in.
I would say the unfortunate thing about if you had done real estate the past 10 years was that real estate has only gone in one direction. It's up. And we all know, like, the past doesn't predict the future, but at some point, it doesn't always go up. Collectively maybe, but sure, but usually you have those down years here and there, and we really haven't had a down year since like
9 years.
yeah, 9 years, which is a long time. So I wonder how, I mean,
My thoughts. The demand is still strong. You can see the house prices are still going up,
Right.
15% and but it will reach at a point where the demand meets the supply. I'm a finance guy.
but it's not really just the supply and demand. Well, it is right on its most basic level, but what's driving the demand, right? It's generally the economy, right?
The interest rates has been low.
Right. It's a macro thing. It's not so like if we have a downturn in the economy, it affects the demand.
Let me
of
tell you,
properties.
let's say if in a year's time or 2 years time, if your interest rate is 7%,
Mhm.
what it is 3.5 or 3% today,
Right.
what do you think is going to happen?
Oh, it's gonna go down. I mean, it's crazy to me that when I first bought my own property back in 2007, interest rate was like 6.5%, and that was the lowest ever.
Yeah.
Whenever every time it goes lower, we always say like, oh, it's not. This is the lowest ever. It's not gonna go lower, and then it does. But there's zero though, so hopefully it doesn't go past zero.
There is going to be a correction.
Mhm.
I don't know when. I mean, it's hard to have a crystal ball, and
Yeah.
it's just you just have to go with the flow of the market, and be prepared that if in some case if something happens and correction happens, you're financially able to take that loss.
Right.
Which I don't think you will do because when you, as I said, abide right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if there is a 20% correction or 5% correction, whatever it is,
It is what it is.
I'm financially capable to take that loss.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken much more loss than this. What did I talk about? Right?
Right.
200K in one day. So I
Right.
think I have a capacity
Mm-hmm.
now but fortunately, I mean, the only thing which I can say in my life in 25 years of my working experience,
Mm-hmm.
the best business is real estate.
Right. I
I mean,
totally
there
agree also.
has nothing been better than real estate in any business I've done.
So in regards to real estate, right? So what are you most involved in? Is it the notes, the lending, short-term rentals, long-term rentals? Like, what are you most involved in?
I'm mostly involved in lending because
Lending.
now I know everything about
Mhm.
lending.
Yeah.
I know, and my I would say my friends who borrow money, I completely trust them and they trust me.
Yeah.
So if you have to close a deal in 2 days
Mm-hmm.
and you can't find money, I can close in 2 days.
Yeah.
Why? Because I have a good setup with my attorneys.
Right.
And they're excellent at my job. They have the templates ready. They know what to do. So you have to have a good team when you have a good you're involved in the notes. You just can't say when you say 2 days, you have to do it in 2 days. And I have done it.
Right.
4 months back, I closed a deal in 2 days.
Right.
So my target going forward is to go into short-term rentals. Uh, uh, lot of homeowners associations doesn't allow short-term rentals. That's the biggest problem.
Going back to lending real quick was that there were like hard money lenders prior to 2008, and then they no longer existed.
Yeah.
Again, like we're dealing in a time period where home values tend to continue to trend up. I mean, there are hard money lenders, short-term lenders that just disappeared, or
Big
even
time.
normal lenders,
Big time.
shutter after 2008, 2009. So yeah, we've just been in this environment where like everything goes up,
Yeah.
which is really not how it's supposed to be.
You will have a George someday.
Yeah.
Something is going to happen, and as I said, I was overconfident for 7 years, right? When I was trading, I was thinking, man, I know everything, and things are going fine. You don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
When it's a day, it's your day. It's it.
Right.
Irrespective of how much you know, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, real estate is still good, and I cover all my risks, and I'm ready to take the property back in case there is a problem.
Yeah.
So, and I know how to fix it and flip it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no problem.
Right.
So, because I have all the money when I'm giving, I've already done my due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
I already know if something happens, I can take the property back in a day.
Right.
I can fix it myself. I can sell it.
Right.
So, being a private lender and knowing how to flip is a very good mix, because that if something goes wrong, you're ready to take the property back.
Yeah.
Not a lot of white collar job people who are working know how to flip the property.
How many properties have you had to take back, or if any at all?
None so far.
No. Yeah. It's funny. Like I said, I have a relationship with Red Door Funding, and since it's been a long time, it's very number one, no one's goal is to take the property back.
Yeah.
But if you have to, but they don't take property. It's rare. It's a rare.
I'm
very rare
very
occurrence.
selective. Number one, to give my money, hard-earned money to people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have people calling me, but I'm very selective.
Right.
I know my money is safe. That's the first thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a hard money lender having millions of dollars. You can just give, and they're definitely better than me because they have more knowledge and experience than me.
Mm-hmm.
But I deal with good guys, and I never have an issue. And
So do you lend money normally for flips or
mostly flips.
mostly flips?
Yeah.
Not too many rentals.
3 to 6%, 3 to 6 months, I think, is
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are just want a quick close. When they want a close quick, I mean in 2-3 days. I mean, I don't know if hard money lenders can do that because they need to do a lot of things.
Right. Usually they get their own independent appraiser.
Yeah,
to come
it
through.
takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Private lenders have no documentation fee, this fee, that fee. You
Yeah.
just pay me whatever interest and points I charge, and
Mm-hmm.
you have your documents, everything ready, and you're closed. So it's easier to deal with private lenders. Simple reason, because it's easier to they have the cash, they're ready to close. They do their own due diligence, appraisals, everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a single man army, so
Right.
I've learned it myself. So
Mm-hmm.
nobody taught me all this, but as I said, going to all these open houses with wholesalers, learning
Right.
running around Home Depot, having bad contractors was the biggest university degree I ever got. They taught me everything.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing about houses and stuff, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
There's nothing really like difficult out there that you couldn't learn rather quickly. Not saying that there's nothing to learn. There's a huge learning curve, but once you kind of like even fixing houses, once you understand your paints, your materials and stuff, for flooring, it all kind of comes relatively easy. Like it's easy to learn because you see it. You feel
Today I can say after about 4 or 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
I know something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still learning.
Right.
Learning never stops.
Right. No, for sure.
In real estate, when you're fixing things, you're going through a house, you will see so many different things every time,
Mm-hmm.
which you have not seen, which is very good. And I listen to a lot of podcasts and all that, and when people have issues, I learn a lot because I read, I have friends, who have been through situations, so that's a learning experience. I think life is about learning, and
Absolutely.
just implementing.
Mm-hmm.
If you have high ego and say, man, I know everything, you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
It will humble you someday.
I would say like I've been in real estate since 2011,
Okay.
and um, if you think you stop learning, you don't, because there's actually new things that come about all the time. When I first got in, like, vinyl plank for flooring didn't exist, or it wasn't used very often, and now we put in everything. I actually do. I think a lot of things different from what I was taught. Like, I've taken a lot of classes, lessons, and podcasts and stuff, and so I think some stuff you're just taught wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, like some of the stuff is like to make your life easier, right? Depending, like, there's nothing hard or difficult about real estate, as long as you invest the time in it. But if you don't have the time, then you got to learn to kind of leverage other people. I think when I first started, I was in corporate when I bought my first rental, and I was taught to like lease out the property yourself, do everything on your own, and I kill my evenings and weekends trying to do this. And I was like, I don't. This is not really what I was looking for. So then I was like, even though I was taught to just lease the property myself, I just always hired an agent to lease properties for me, right? So even the stuff you do learn, you can learn on your own, and like, hey, this is not what you're looking for. So it was something else you're looking for.
I think in real estate, I mean, if you have money, private lending is the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say. People say about the chain, like this chain, or
Mm-hmm.
it's all about how you can make money.
Right.
I mean, real estate is all about avenues where you find where you fit in.
Yeah.
So like I fit in very good in private lending. I fit very good in I would say short-term rentals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a customer service guy.
Right.
So short-term rentals is all about service.
So
right?
do you manage these short-term rentals
I don't.
yourself?
For right now,
Right.
I don't. And because there are better people than me who can manage. So
Right.
it's always better to outsource to people
Mm-hmm.
who know more better than me,
Mm-hmm.
and they can manage my property just like their own.
Right.
It's hard to find those people, but as I said, faith, I get good people in my life.
Right. I think, a lot of things in life is not knowing it through and through, but to know to ask just the right questions, right?
That's it.
Not every question is equal or the same, but you have to know just enough to like, hey, to be able to question someone and then challenge what they're doing also at the same time.
Yeah, so I think I definitely plan to do more short-term rentals and see how it goes. And lending has been always there, and we get fix and flip opportunities here and there. You're always there.
Mm-hmm.
The cash is ready. I jump on it, and
Right.
probably see me on Facebook. Reply to all the time, and my company Mega House Buyers, and you will see. Try to. It's just you're trying to get attention where you start getting deals because it's so much of competition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do my own marketing. I don't have time. Number one.
Right.
Number two, I mean, it's very competitive. Even though I put my time into it,
Mm-hmm.
I know it's going to be a very difficult thing because I know so many people are struggling.
Right.
Because I know a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So I already know it's not an easy job.
Yeah.
Wholesaling is not easy. It's probably the toughest job.
Wholesaling's it's kind of easy, but the competition in it is so, and the reason because there's almost no barrier to entry, right? Like, I mean, it's advertised all the time, like, oh, make money in real estate without putting in. Like, oh my god, like, I really hate those because you don't make enough, right? And a lot of those advertisers kind of self-beneficial, meaning these other wholesalers are trying to get them like bird dogs or
Mhm.
something and help them close the deal. But there's a lot of time invested, and it's not. Like I said, I used to own the Home Investors franchise, and when I first got in 2000, when I first bought it in 2012, I think it was just like 2 years later where like wholesaling was like the most common term used in real estate investing, where before people just like, oh, get your deal from a wholesaler. Now everyone's like, be your own wholesaler. And I was just like, so I ended up selling the franchise in I think 2016 because the cost per lead got to the point where it's just like it wasn't something I was doing full time. And then again, maybe if you do it full time, again, you could probably do it better. But it wasn't something I was trying to do full time. I was only using it for my own
You have to
investment
put
purposes.
your heart and soul in whatever you do, even
Yeah.
though you do part time. But so whatever hours I do, like apart from the printing, I just try to see that I put my heart and soul in anything, whatever I do.
Mm-hmm.
Printing is my business, my bread and butter.
Right.
I've developed my real estate, so I wanted to see that my kids, everybody's asked is why are you doing it, right? My why is my children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, they're educated well. My son is working well. My daughter's about to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I want to build some legacy and some generational wealth for them, and you know, so they don't have to go through that kind of life, hard life, which I started
Right.
with all the struggles, no money, failing so many times,
Mm-hmm.
coming back up. It needs a lot of strength, and I think I've been gone through that grilling,
Yeah.
which I've given them a good platform where someday, that education doesn't pay off for their jobs, or it happens to them, somebody, they're not happy with their jobs or whatever, they
Mm-hmm.
want to start their own business. They already have a real estate platform to begin with.
Yeah.
Plus, they have my name.
Right.
So I think being honest and being faithful and being right
Mm-hmm.
and trying to do good for people, I think that's the legacy. Plus, the assets for sure
Right.
will benefit them.
Absolutely. I mean, like to me, it's all means to something else. Like money's money.
Yeah.
As you get older, also, money's not everything. Your health is important.
Health is the
Al-
key.
Also, at the same time, like, wealth is, there's just financial income, financial wealth, but then you're generally talking about just wealth. Like,
Nobody talks about health in real estate.
yeah.
I see so many people. I've been through health challenges,
Mhm.
which is discussed. I don't want to discuss it here, but you already know what I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a toll on your health.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I don't know if you know this, but in last year, February, I got into a car accident.
Oops.
I got rear-ended, and at first I was like, oh, no big deal, and then I started developing headaches where I couldn't even work at all, and it lasted. I was searched like everywhere. I went, the normal therapy, through some special therapy, to like acupuncture. I did everything to not have headaches. Like when I got the headache, I just couldn't even. I couldn't think or anything, and it went on for like 2 months or something, where certain days I would just have headaches where I just couldn't do any kind of work. Really difficult. So, when people will kind of leave that out, like your health is actually rather important a lot of times.
I think I've seen a lot of people having health issues in real estate, especially. It is not an easy business to be in, and I think you need some experience or some kind of education before you get in,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can learn the ropes. And before like Airbnb, like, or short-term rentals, I didn't know nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lucky, as I said, I have good people in my life somehow. He just sends it.
Right.
I don't have to look for it.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to be, the person I am from inside.
Right.
So whatever I'm from inside, I'm outside. So it's easy to connect.
Yeah.
Because they know that, when you talk to somebody, they can figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Your eyes are, the God's gift is your eyes. You
Right.
can see your facial expressions and see what you're talking is what you mean.
Right.
So I think I am always in favor of meeting personally and talking to somebody. They can understand me, and I can understand them better. It's easier for business.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I guess someone always uses my eyeball to eyeball and
Yeah.
tummy.
Yeah.
You kind of get a real feel for it, so
Yeah.
people don't not be hiding
Yeah.
behind the phone or email or text or something.
I mean, since 7 o'clock, I get so many text messages from all these wholesalers,
Mm-hmm.
and none of the numbers make sense.
Wholesalers for you to buy a property or for
Yeah.
you to sell your property?
Yeah, no, I want to buy, so they all
Uh-huh.
know, but the numbers need to work. I mean, basically, in order for me to make any money,
Yeah.
and probably they are not at fault either, because the sellers want too much money.
Exactly. I think that's the biggest problem with sellers. I always thought, you would think that the wholesale market would be more difficult now because, you can put anything on the retail market, and whether
You can sell.
I actually sold a house over in Tennessee off of Oswego, and the house wasn't even livable.
Next to my office.
Yeah, I put it on the market, and I sold it on the
Yeah.
market. I mean, to another investor, but you don't have to go the wholesale route. I guess I'm saying it's like, even if you wanted to like sell your house in a distressed manner, you could probably sell your house in a distressed manner on MLS.
That's one of the biggest thing is everybody using that, and being a realtor, that definitely adds value. Plus, the sellers are getting more prices, so I think the margins are getting squeezed. So everybody's getting like, market is getting like this.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no way you can. I mean, until you are connecting with a lot of people and they start sending me deals, and half of my day like goes in evaluating deals.
Right. So how many do you buy? Like,
It's been very challenging.
yeah.
It's been very challenging. Numbers are not working.
Yeah. No, it's kind of hard.
It's just very hard.
Honestly, it's funny because the person that bought the house that I had on the market, they actually have a good amount of rentals, and I did not understand why they bought it at the price that they bought it. Like, I was like, wow, I don't think that's this house is not a livable house. Floors,
So that's why I'm saying the numbers are not working, and so it's probably not because of me, and I'm also not going around too much
right.
these days because of this COVID situation, the
Mhm.
events and all that. I think the biggest thing is you start going to events, you start connecting to more people, you
Mhm.
get more deals that way.
Right.
I think which I had done in the past, but just because of this COVID thing and my health situation,
Mhm.
so I just decided to do what it comes to my table and
Yeah.
evaluate it. And since I'm a realtor, I know better because you can go just log into Matrix and
Yeah.
start doing all the research, and they keep telling you the numbers which are not true, and so I think half a day is evaluation, so things work, but then by the time you reach, the deal is
Yeah.
gone already.
So
It sells in hours.
when do you work on your Kwik Kopy business? I'm just kidding.
The thing is, it's a 46-year-old company. Most of the customers have been there
Right.
20, 25 years. They're all established customers.
Mhm.
All the big companies, people who are working, they have my cell phone number.
Right.
They text me or call me if they need it. So I'm at their doorstep anytime.
Mhm.
So all the big customers, I manage it myself.
Right.
All the medium to customers, which I'm talking about value, price-wise.
Mhm.
I'm involved in everything. Nothing is small or big, but generally the big customers need more attention, so they need me in there.
Right.
So it's finally about how I can serve them better, and my staff has been excellent to manage things. I get a text or a call if there is a problem. So if I don't get an email, and I get a copy of emails on everything.
Mhm.
So as soon as I step out of your meeting, the first thing I want to do is check my voicemail, check my emails, start responding from my car, and calling them back.
Yeah.
So service is key, as I said.
Right. So do you?
You remember yours thing, right? It went into your spam.
Mhm.
You said if we couldn't respond to you, then I'd send you a text that hey,
Yeah.
it went into your spam.
Yeah.
So this is called service because I don't want you to feel that I'm not responding to you.
Mhm. No, it's fine.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just an example.
Right. Absolutely. So do you work with so you just said that you mentioned you work with wholesalers. Do you work with realtors also?
I've worked with a lot of realtors. I don't mind paying them their commission, 3% if the deals are good.
No, I meant for printing services. Do realtors come to you for like
A
marketing?
lot of realtors that print their signs, like the realtor rider signs and
Mhm.
their signs. I
So
do
do you
print
the metal signs or just the corrugated plastic signs?
metal signs.
The metal signs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm with Walzel Properties myself, so
Right.
we have about 800 to 900 realtors in that group.
Right.
So, I'm one of the vendors on their website, so they can
For
pick it.
for which website? I'm sorry.
Walzel Properties.
Was that okay? Mhm.
I'm a vendor there as well.
Right.
It's just they can pick and choose whom they want to do.
So do you
business
do
with.
just the rider signs, or do you also do the 24 by 30 or
I do everything.
do everything?
I do everything. I have a 3,000 square foot facility there,
Uh-huh.
20,000 square feet land. So, and being a franchise, we have a lot of good vendors who can help us out.
Mhm.
Whatever I can do there, I have vendors who can do it for me.
Right.
So, as you said, being a franchise good or bad? I would say good because I don't have to look on internet to find things because my franchise has agreement with the vendors.
Right.
So, it's easier for me
Mhm.
just to go log in and see who are my vendors and just call them.
Right.
So I do a lot of signs, corrugated plastics, aluminum signs, metal signs. I do a lot of banners.
So do you do those bandit signs also?
Yeah, tons of them.
Tons of them.
Tons of them.
Okay.
Again, as I said, I'm a volume guy.
Mhm.
If you're looking for the cheapest deal in town, I'm not the right person.
Right.
But I'm a quality guy.
Mhm.
I'll be very competitive on price, but I may not be the cheapest in town.
Right.
Because there is a service involved. Like I'm not going to name Vistaprint, but you call and
Mhm.
you'll have people answering the phones, but when you have a problem, I mean, it's just you don't get solutions.
Mm-hmm.
They're a big company, but I think the quality of print and I think the service is horrible,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But if you want cheap, I think they're good.
Right.
But I can do a business card for $55 to $65.
Yeah, I didn't realize, you did all those, I guess, bandit signs and, like the realtor signs and stuff. I don't think that's is that a normal thing, part of Kwik Kopy, or is that something
I added it.
you added it?
I did
Okay.
it.
Yeah, because and I guess that's my point is that, with Kwik Kopy, which is like, as you said, franchise.
It's a one-stop store now because when I started it, as I said, I studied the market, what was required.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have a UPS office in our own office. I'm a authorized shipping outlet for UPS
Right.
as well.
You get all those Amazon packages coming through.
Or tons of them, and UPS, I'm listed on my UPS website also, my company.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody's searching for a UPS nearby in 7-8 miles, there is nobody except me.
Right.
So that's a good branding for me as well because being a UPS, you have a lot of walk-in customers.
Right.
So if I'm there, I talk
But
to them.
don't the UPS franchises have their own print shop? Copy?
Their main business is shipping.
Yeah.
Their side business is printing.
Yeah.
For me, my main business is printing. Side
Does that-
business UPS.
Does that become a little bit problematic if they know that you do printing also, because that's kind of their side
No,
thing?
that's the
Or-
first.
Or is that like every franchise has their own? They can do whatever they want.
I mean, UPS franchise, they have their own systems and things.
Mm-hmm.
They want people like us because I have a retail outlet, 3,000 square feet. So they ask pictures of that,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of outlet it looks like,
Right.
the whole space, the forms,
Yeah.
and they thought I'm a good fit for that.
Mm-hmm.
So it works both ways,
Right.
I mean, if you provide a service, I'm providing the service, providing my retail outlet for them,
Mm-hmm.
for people to come in. I do packaging now, so I added to packaging.
Right.
So I have a whole packaging section for boxes. It's almost like a UPS store. I mean, you go to, but
Mhm.
the service is the biggest thing,
Right. So what else do you do? I mean, it sounds like you do printing. Now you got a UPS store. You own long-term rentals, short-term rentals, notes. You do lending, short-term lending, right? Do you do long-term lending too?
Not done so far.
None so far.
None
You
so
didn't want to get into that.
Never thought. I mean, I'm trying to use my money now in my own short-term rentals, trying to
Yeah.
buy that and keep it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reaching 50, so with all my health conditions and this and that, and I'm happy with what I do. I enjoy it,
Right.
and that's the most important part. You should enjoy what you do.
Right.
Printing, I really love and enjoy because it's a very creative thing,
Right.
and I think standing on the reception times and coming to somebody and helping them,
Mhm.
And last year I decided I'm going to do one good deed. I do a lot of good deeds, which I can't tell here,
Mhm.
but I decided that I'm going to help one person every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I see a lot of people coming and they're printing resumes to find a job or doing some scanning work. They want to print something. So if I'm there, I just talk to them and I can feel that it's pressing hard for them for money to pay something for scanning and this.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's pretty good.
Oh, that's awesome.
It satisfied my inner self
Mm-hmm.
because if I do something good for somebody, it
Right.
satisfies me. It's not. It helps them for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me more.
Yeah.
Because I have a better sleep because even though it was a very small help, it adds up of 360 days,
Yeah.
Forget about revenue. Money is not everything.
Right.
If you can help somebody and you can win their wishes, I think that's the biggest thing in life.
Right. No, I couldn't disagree. Yeah.
So I'm made for that. So
Mm-hmm.
my personality is like that, and it's all about giving and helping somebody. I just can't see that somebody can't pay. Fine, don't worry about it.
Right.
And I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And that's how my staff has been trained. They like, if somebody comes in wants a bottle of water, please give it.
Right.
So it's not what is there. So
Right.
it's just
It's not much.
it's just a service, and you feel good that you did something for somebody, right?
So I guess going on for 2022, what are you looking to,
Full blown short-term rentals.
full blown short term rentals? And do you how do you what is the I guess my question is, what is the profile of the property that you would have to have in order for it to be a short-term rental?
First criteria, HOA.
HOA.
A lot of people are getting burnt and leaving this business because
Okay, beyond HOA. I actually had a whole another podcast talking about the HOA. I think, I think it's been stated enough that sometimes HOAs can be very difficult and then they can ban you from actually doing short-term rentals. So beyond having an HOA allowing you to do the rental, what kind of profile of a house? Is it location, type of house? What drives?
yes, location is very important.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see how people are traveling because people who are going to go and
So where do you have short-term rentals now? Let's just ask that question.
mostly in condos, lake condos. I'm looking something in near downtown, midtown,
Yeah.
Galveston. So wherever people want to come and live.
Do you have short-term rentals in like where your office is at? Just in the city?
It's not going to work there.
Not gonna work there?
No,
Okay.
because you have to see where people are traveling, where the need is.
Yeah.
I mean, why will somebody come to Jacinto City to live,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, you have to understand.
Right.
It has to be a quality house, done nicely.
Yeah. Because it's funny because like I said, we do short-term rentals or not short, long-term rentals here in management, and we saw a few owners where they like took their house in the burbs somewhere and try to make it to a short-term rental because the COVID restrictions and stuff like that. They're just worried that people don't have to pay rent, and so we'd see stuff like in Bear Creek doing short-term rentals, and we're just like, how did I never knew how that worked out because I think they transitioned from long-term to short-term, and then there's a huge investment that goes into place. You got to buy all the furniture and stuff to make it into a short-term rental. So I don't really know how, like, if you did the burbs or was it more like in places that would have vacation rentals than just normal long-term rentals.
Vacation rentals are the way to go for sure. When where people want to come and stay in peace, you have to make it nice. You just can't have a cheap stuff and charge them $120, $150, $200 a night. It has to be worth that price.
Right.
People like to have facilities, a lot of things like if you have a pool or if you have water,
Right.
or if you have parks nearby. Safety is very key. How clean you keep your apartments or houses. Definitely, like I'm looking for something in near Galleria now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people come to Galleria. It's a part of the mid city, so prices are skyrocketed there.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for something. Heights is a good area.
Yeah. If you're buying in a gallery, are you buying like a condo type? Which
Probably going to be a townhome or something condo. Yeah.
Right. Which in that situation, then you're running more into an issue with the HOA at that point, right?
That's why as I said, before you invest, you need to call the HOA, find out how flexible they are in HOA. You have to go through their deed restrictions, find out if that allows that or not.
Right.
I've seen over 500 deed restrictions in the last 9 months. I read every line, see what they allow. I don't want to do a thing which HOA says no, and I think a lot of people just get into problems because they don't read the deed restrictions. They don't call HOA. You will see a lot of email from these wholesalers. Airbnb. You can do no.
Right.
You can't do that. It's easier to put it on an email saying you can do Airbnb, but when you call the HOA, they said you can't do it. I don't think you should do it.
Right.
When the HOA, and because neighbors are going to call and have a problem.
What's funny is that HOAs have like this power now. Like maybe there's even a potential where maybe in the deed restrictions or in the HOA bylaws that it doesn't necessarily say that you're not allowed to do short-term rentals, but they could say that you can. Right? You can fight it. I'm not saying you can't fight it, but they can make up their own rules. Is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, they can change it, but the thing is, you have to have 50% of the area subdivision people need to agree on it. If you want to change a HOA bylaws or deed restrictions, you have to have a 51% vote voting in favor of that. So let's say if you have a subdivision which has 1,000 houses, do you think 50% of people will show up?
No.
It's not going to happen.
Is it 50% of people that show up, or 50% of people who vote?
What vote? Because they need a majority or a quorum to pass that motion, right?
Yeah, most people don't even show up for HOAs.
And that's why I'm saying, whatever is made until it's a very active HOA. But Definitely on water is a big plus,
Right.
with a pool, because people like to, in the summer, they like to have a pool. If they have it on water, they
Mm-hmm.
like to go on a boat or something. Again, it's not like a 12 months business, like a
Yeah.
long-term rental.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the seasons are March to October.
Right.
November, December, January, February are pretty slow.
Okay.
I just started, I've stuck my foot into it beginning in June last year, and I'm still learning. As I said, it's probably 7-8 months.
Yeah, I mean, I had this whole long discussion with a short-term rental management company, and the huge difference between long-term rentals and short-term rentals is the pricing. In short-term rentals, for dynamic pricing, you got to take advantage of the situations where, if you do, like there's a convention or Super Bowl coming in, that you have to be aware and then price it accordingly to maximize your profit. While short and long-term rentals is actually rather just kind of stable.
Stable.
Yeah, stable. You don't focus on the pricing adjustment and stuff as much.
I think, if numbers work, long-term rentals are good.
Mm-hmm.
Short-term rentals may or may not work.
Right.
So it's all just a trial and error basis. But if you know the locations where people travel, where they come, that comes from a lot of hard work and going through all these deed restrictions, which a lot of people don't read anyone.
Right.
They just want to go to an Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
You have to understand, is there a need, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Why would people come and leave it to you? Because like Heights or Galleria,
Right.
you could log in, a medical center is bust. There are 50 to 100 people doing that.
Yeah.
It's a
The
bust.
medical center?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Everybody, people who are in condos, they're just selling everything.
Yeah.
That was one of the hottest points due to COVID. You got the hospitals.
I mean, you're just saying that you got your real estate license and stuff, but how do you determine? Do you have because obviously the MLS and stuff doesn't cover short-term rentals. So are you relying primarily on your management company to determine, like, hey, you just said that the medical center was a bust because there's too much supply. So are you using something other than your management company to help you determine if there's too much supply in a certain area, or what website or software?
You can go to Airbnb's website.
Okay.
You can just type your zip code or and you'll have put the dates and you'll see how many you already know.
Right.
Man, I don't want to be here. There are already 100 people doing this.
Right.
If somebody's selling at $40 a night and the price should be 100, you don't want to be there.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. Okay. So really just
You can go to Airbnb website. You can anywhere you want. Let's say I want to buy one in Galleria, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for one, or in Heights, right?
Right.
Why do I want to buy? Good area, center of town.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wants to live, come to the town. They probably want to live in the center of town. Easy accessibility, and location.
Right.
So I think that's one of the reasons. But again, will the HOA allow it? No.
Mm-hmm.
But some do, some don't. Majority of them, they don't care. They do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
that's when they don't post the actual
yeah, and
far
as I said,
pictures
I'm
and
very cautious. I don't want problems with HOA.
Mm-hmm.
I check everything. I read through the deed restrictions, find the locations.
Yeah.
I see what is available on the market and how many people are doing it. Because that's very easy to find, because when you go to Airbnb's website and you want to put a zip code, you can see how many people pop up.
Mm-hmm.
You go to each of them and see how they are funded, what pricing they're doing.
Right.
You will probably know it.
Mm-hmm.
AirDNA is a good website where you can get that information too.
You said AirDNA?
Yeah.
AirDNA. Okay. I've never, like I said, I really never messed with short-term rentals.
I mean, I've been, as I said, I'm learning myself. It's not easy.
I think the only time I ever even looked into short-term rentals is when people asked me to manage, and I was like, no, I don't really do short-term rentals.
It's very difficult to manage because it's on a daily basis.
Oh, for sure.
And it's not like a long term where you just get a monthly check. You probably make more money some months, you probably make less money some months.
You almost have to, you do have to have like a different set of vendors and stuff, to go clean the house, to do more than just clean the house, because then you have the linens and
honestly, I think Houston area is just oversaturated right now, in my opinion.
Yeah. But that, when I asked you the question, what you want to do more of in 2022, you said short-term rentals.
Short-term rentals, not in Houston.
Oh, not in Houston. Okay.
Yeah.
So like in Conroe or
Anything,
even further away.
Anything outside Houston, maybe Galveston.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, Galleria, as I said, is in Houston, but it's still a good hotspot because of the central location. Austin may be good.
Right.
People like to go there, live there.
So do you own anything like way outside Houston City lives, like another city like Austin, or do you just kind of stick to greater Houston area?
So far, I've stayed, around Houston, but I'm exploring Austin. As I said, I'm too new into this business. I'm only 7 months in Airbnb, so I'm probably gonna answer this question a little better in a year's time
No,
when I know more.
yeah, but at least that's kind of cool that you made the jump. Cause I've been thinking about it. I actually had a townhouse in Midtown, and then I ran it by my friend that owns the short-term rental company, and it's only a 2-bedroom, so she didn't think that it was as good of an opportunity.
It should be pretty good.
She said 3 bedrooms like usually do a little bit better. So she
Anything works in Midtown. 1 bedroom, 1 bath is also good.
Right.
It's just the way how you do the layout, the pricing. You have to go on Airbnb and see how many people are doing it in that area. Click each of them and see the way they are decorated, furnishings, pricing.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go, you're competing. You go to Condo, you're competing. You go to Woodland. Woodlands is a lot easier because it's a township. They allow Airbnb. Galveston, they allow Airbnb, so it's easier. Those areas.
Well, one of the things made me want to consider was because the long-term rental it was going to do okay. Like I said, in long-term rentals, 3 bedrooms do so much better than 2 bedrooms. Mine was a 2, but just recently over the past year, how much long-term rental prices have increased by a lot. I don't know if you're aware.
Yeah, because the property taxes has gone up.
Property tax has gone up, but just in general, the market has
Yeah.
gone up, and like people more accepting. Because at one point, it was really hard. The rental prices didn't go up in a lot of rental properties for a long while, or it went up very small. And more recently, this past year, rental prices have gone up significantly. I'm sure because owners have to because of property tax and stuff. But at the same time, though, I just think property taxes have always gone up, while rental prices have not gone up in the same way. Yeah.
I think if you want to go do Airbnb, you could probably go to vacation spots because people are getting tired with this COVID, staying at home. They want a place to go and spend family time.
Right.
So I think as the more I learn, I think it's Houston was a good market.
Yeah.
But with everybody doing Airbnb, it's just happening the same way.
Right.
It's a demand and supply. You have more supply than demand, so plus HOA restrictions are bad. So we'll see how it goes. I've just started about 7 months, so
That's cool.
in a year's time, if I have 3 more, I'm not a big guy where I want 50 a year and can't handle it.
Right.
I'm very selective, as I said, in whatever I buy, and I want to make sure it works. And if it doesn't work, are you able to take the loss? That's the biggest key. In whatever investment I do, I know I can take it.
Right. That's important because you got to have that cushion.
Yeah.
You say, and it's because
And I don't invest into something which I can't bear the loss.
Right. I was talking to Chris, before you was, I asked the same question because, again, as investors, we generally buy a little bit better than other people or out of town investors and stuff, right? So even though there may be a downturn, we're able to take those hits a little bit better.
It's all about. But anyway, it's been very nice talking to you, and thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you came in.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think we've talked to each other for years, and just, I'm glad you came in and had a conversation.
It's the first time we had a opportunity to talk like this.
Yeah, no, I think, like I said, I just like to talk to people and find out, with Chris, he went on to some, what you call those trainings, webinar, or not training, those classes that he took, and I was very interested in how those turned out. It seemed like he had a pretty good experience from it.
I'm starting my Amazon store also.
Okay.
Yeah. Should be up and running in a month's time. Hopefully.
In a month's time, so maybe I need to get back to you in here to kind of hear about this Amazon store.
Yeah, hopefully it works well.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm investing. I know I can take the loss. So
Right.
anything I do, I want to make sure first can I bear the loss.
Right.
And if I'm getting into it, If it backfires, are you able to take it back?
Mm-hmm.
I am. So
Right.
that's what differentiates me from others. I'm not a big shot, or
Mm-hmm.
I want 100 rentals and be a uh, uh, like a guru or something. I'm just a very simple guy, and
Yeah.
I try to make more balanced decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of us in my age with experience
Right.
and being burned so many times and fallen down so many times.
Right.
I'm more extra careful than anybody else. But sometimes my prices are lower than others,
Mm-hmm.
and it does happen because I try to put my own money and I have to buy it right, and I still have to add that opportunity cost, because if I was lending or buying or borrowing,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, you're putting cash, you don't take that opportunity cost if you had to borrow.
Right.
I always add that up into my buying cost.
Yeah. No, I mean you have to, right?
Yeah,
Especially with prices increasing
Yeah,
as they are, you just have to be a little bit more. I would say a little bit more careful
very selective.
because we're every time my point in saying is that we're reaching a higher and higher, like every time it's something higher. So when it drops, it doesn't just drop a little bit. It kind of goes a little bit further.
I think it's never happened in the history here in Houston, looks like, right? The way it's gone up in 9 years. It's just like up market 9 years.
I would say from like 1987 till 1999, 2000.
So we had 12-year run.
Had a decent 12-year run, but it was slower though.
This time it's like California going up 10,
Yeah.
15, 20%.
It was slower. The building boom wasn't as much, but still significant. But yeah, no, nothing. I haven't seen anything like this. But anyways, Pravin, it was
Thanks a lot, man.
nice to have you. Come here and talk to us. Like I said, I always like to hear stories and kind of see what people do in real estate. I mean, I know you always had the Kwik Kopy, but I never knew you did lending. I never knew you did short-term rentals. I knew you probably had some long-term rentals, but like I said, I didn't know your Kwik Kopy store actually did like corrugated plastic signs. I thought it was just more like more print.
The thing is, we were mostly a printing business, but what happened is with 2014, 2015, the oil crisis, a lot of people started getting out of business.
Yeah.
And all the signs people started doing printing, all the printing business started doing signs.
Right.
So everybody's trying to get his one-stop shop.
And it kind of goes together though, right? So it's not like you're extending yourself too far.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, hey, if you do, so it's kind of like in real estate, right? You went from doing one thing and now you expand it to do so many things because it's just kind of linear.
It's like a branch.
Yeah, it's like you're just branching out just a little bit. It's not too
And
far.
in life, I have seen just do business with good people,
Mhm.
and it's really hard to find the 1 out of 1,000. I'm not saying everybody's bad, but finding the right person which fits your mentality and your way of life is very difficult.
Yeah.
And when you find it, just go ahead and do it.
Right. Well, probably like I said, good luck to you in 2022. Hopefully, you get as many short-term rentals as
And good luck to you
as
too.
you wish. All right.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.